Hey everybody, this is Calvin with Impruver. In this episode, we're going to talk about 3 methods to sustain continuous improvement using Impruver. A lot of companies and a lot of practitioners really struggle with the idea of how do you continue to build momentum for continuous improvement, keep people engaged, continue to drive for increasingly better results over time, and even how do you maintain the new level of performance achieved as part of a kaizen event or broader continuous improvement effort. You've probably dealt with people completing their certification in Lean or Six Sigma or TPM or whatever the case is, and then they go right back to business as usual after certification. Well, the good news is that we at Impruver have built several very powerful features to help you keep people engaged and continuing to drive continuous improvement well beyond certification, training, and other activities. The 3 tools that we'll be demonstrating for you here today are the flywheel, gamification, and the countermeasure. For the flywheel, we'll be using the Impruver storyboard. Let's navigate there now. To get to the storyboard, just click the circular icon here in the header called storyboard. The other way is to go to top stories and find either a plus or an I here, and this will take you to view your storyboard. So what you see here is the Impruver storyboard. This is the main tool you'll use to perform the flywheel. So the flywheel is a process where a leader might meet with 1 or more direct reports at a time. We usually say 3 is probably a good number. It can be up to 5. Obviously, in the early days of doing this, it's going to take a little more time, but as you get more proficient at it, it gets faster and faster, right? It gets to about a minute per cycle. And you're using a storyboard as a way to conduct a coaching cycle, right? It's a simple Toyota Kata style coaching process where you're simply asking the person, hey, what's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? By when? Is that still reasonable? What's the current state? And it's showing a nice trend line here of data points that are trending from starting from your starting point, ending with your ending point. Above the blue line here means you're ahead of schedule. Below the blue line means you're behind schedule. So you can see Carlos in this example is trending well ahead of schedule. So as you keep going, you've got a notes field here where you can add little notes. You can say, hey, this is part of my current condition, or you can add images or video or supporting documents, whatever you want to add to this specific story. And just below that, you got your log of iterations where it keeps track of the specific improvements you've made. Here's got done. So these are things you've done. It even includes what you learned from it. And then it's got what you're going to do next. So it answers 3 basic questions to drive PDCA style thinking. And those questions are, what's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? What'd you do last? And what are you going to do next? And of course, you can improvise as needed to help the learner or help the coachee to develop scientific thinking and ultimately achieve their goal. What we encourage is that leaders meet weekly and essentially help their team members drive at least 1 improvement per week. This is also something that could be done on a daily basis or monthly or quarterly, whatever makes sense for the specific coachee. Obviously, the more frequently you do PDCA cycles, the faster you'll see learning and the faster you'll see improvement. But in some cases, you just can't get data on a daily basis or even a weekly basis. You may end up spreading out your PDCA cycles to drive bigger, broader changes. And this usually applies to people who are a little bit higher up in the org chart. So the flywheel is a sustainable, scalable approach to continuous improvement that's led by a coach or a supervisor. And we typically do it with a cohort, again, of 3 to 5 people. We usually try to stay more on the 3 side of that. We also use this process to help people earn their Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification. It's a 10-week flywheel process. At the end of 10 weeks, we have a remarkably high success rate of project completion, goals achieved, and everything else we want to demonstrate as part of the certification process. The next thing I want to show you is gamification, and this can get really fun. So in Impruver, gamification is managed on a page that we call the Impruver bank account. You can find this bank account by clicking the Go tab and clicking on the coin total here. You can also find it by clicking the down arrow just beneath your profile picture and finding Manage Bank Account. Here you can see the available balance. Now you earn these tokens or you earn these coins by completing action items, by achieving goals, by achieving projects, doing all the kind of things that we want more people doing in order to build a continuous improvement culture. You can gift these coins to others. For example, I can send a gift to Jack Johnson of 5 coins for supporting with my project. I hit send. It's going to ask me to confirm. I hit confirm, and it is successfully done. Just below that, I can see in my cash trade section, these are the rewards that my boss have made available for me to trade in my coins for. So if you got anything from a dozen of donuts to a t-shirt to Atlanta Hawks basketball tickets to Dave & Buster team event, et cetera, et cetera. These are, again, rewards that are set up by my manager or by the company's CI leader and have been made available for me to trade in my coins for. Again, I'm logged in here as Mike Harrison. If I want to offer rewards for my direct reports or my team, I can come to this offer stuff to buy tab, and then I can create rewards for them. Although Impruver standardizes what the user earns when they complete things like action items, projects, goals, etc., what I can do as a supervisor is I control the cost of those items. So I set the price. If I want to stimulate more CI activity, I might set a lower price. If I want to slow it down, maybe be more conservative on the cost of driving improvement, I might set a little bit higher price. But this gives you as a leader a lever to pull to accelerate CI throughout the company. I'm going to touch more on that in a second here. It's got an order fulfillment functionality. It's got open orders here. I can see who has placed orders. And here I've got a log of closed orders as well. So we see some companies doing some really fun things with this functionality. For example, we've got a customer that does annual casino night where their employees can trade in their coins for poker chips. We've got another customer that does an annual paintball tournament. They're a painting company. So what happens is at the end of the year, based on how many coins you've generated, you can trade those coins in for paintballs. So you can imagine there are people who maybe haven't put much effort forward. They show up to the tournament with not a lot of paintballs versus those who are really driving the culture forward. We've got examples of companies using Dave & Buster gaming credits in exchange for their coins. So this is something you can really get creative with. We've seen the team-based activities tend to do better and people enjoy that more than the individual base. Just something we've observed. Just to throw one more bonus one in there, we've got a company that does an annual picnic, and what they do is they allow folks to trade in their coins for raffle tickets. All right, that's the gamification piece. Again, this gives you a lever that you can pull to accelerate continuous improvement, essentially on demand. The next thing I want to show you is the countermeasure feature, which is a powerful tool for using data to drive not only initial improvement, but ensure that performance is sustaining at the levels that have been achieved during a kaizen event, during a green belt certification or black belt certification, or whatever the case may be. To find the countermeasure feature, click the drop-down arrow beneath the user's profile picture, find manage account. There's a right arrow button just to the right of that, and go to my company. Here you'll find a whole list of functionality, but we're interested in countermeasure at this time. So when you go to countermeasure for the first time, there won't be any alerts here. These alerts flow in from your BI system. So you would go into Power BI or Tableau or whatever you're using and find the chart or the specific KPI that you want to set an alert for. You create the alert inside your BI. We've got a code we'll give you that allows that alert to flow through right into Impruver. And once it's in Impruver, you can then set up a countermeasure. Once the countermeasure is set, it remains set until you change it. For example, we've got one here for line 4 had over 3 hours of downtime. The countermeasure we've set in place for this is every time this happens, and it may happen once a day, once a week, once a month, whatever the case is. And again, that's being tracked in your BI. But once this happens, this issue happens, meaning downtime on line 4 has exceeded a threshold of being down for 3 hours consecutively. The countermeasure then is we're going to assign a 5 whys to Carlos Wilkins, and he's got 10 days to do it. As a continuous improvement leader, I should mention that only a CI leader account type has access to these countermeasures. As a CI leader, then you can keep track of whether or not people are completing their countermeasures as required. Of course, I can launch into this 5 whys to check the status and perhaps provide support as needed. What you see up here are unassigned countermeasures. So let's do one together, for example. Let's take this one here, assign a testing unit from Power BI alert. This is just a made up alert. What we want to do anytime this one comes through is we're going to stick with 5 whys. We want to assign a 5 whys. You want to assign it to Mr. Abraham, and he's got 5 days to do it. And then you hit save. And again, once that countermeasure is set, every time that alert comes in from your BI, a 5 whys is assigned to Abraham, and he's got 5 days to do it on autopilot. So again, just imagine you did a kaizen event and you end up increasing material yield by 5%. And you track material yield on a weekly or monthly basis, and it's going through your Power BI. Anytime material yield drops below a threshold that you set, it will automatically assign a countermeasure for someone to go and follow up on that issue, find out what's going on, and put some effective countermeasures in place. As a busy leader or CI leader, this is invaluable because you can only imagine how many opportunities to apply these continuous improvement tools are missed on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. We've all seen folks get certified and go right back into business as usual after certification. This is a tool to help you ensure that those continuous improvement practices and behaviors are being applied as appropriate. Just to give you a different perspective or different idea how this countermeasure feature works is something like this. We have integrations with hundreds of BI systems. You've got your metric here in your BI, you're tracking it. Once it crosses past this threshold, it will trigger an alert. That alert will get pushed into Impruver where a countermeasure can be assigned. Again, this is a set it and forget it feature. Here you would assign a tool. We have dozens of tools in the Impruver platform and more being created every week. You assign an owner here, and then you assign a due date or days to complete here. Once this is done, Impruver provides the countermeasure owner with some tools and some resources to help them succeed. One, it'll send them a training course directly out of Impruver University. They can go in and take the course on 5Y, for example, if they've never done so. Number two, it'll create the exact tool inside the Impruver platform for them to use to complete their assessment. In this example, we're talking 5 whys. 3, Impruver provides an AI coach that will coach the user through the effective completion of the tool. So for someone who has never done this specific type of analysis, again, we're talking 5 why, but it could be DMAIC, it could be A3, it could be SIPOC, you name it. The AI coach will walk them through field by field the effective application of that tool. Again, just think about defining an effective problem statement, right? The AI will actually coach them through that and ask them questions to get them to a good place. And lastly, you got the rewards, of course, rewards and incentives. Again, these are things you could offer to encourage people to apply the tools when appropriate and as appropriate. So there you have it, a quick overview of 3 methods to sustain continuous improvement using Impruver. We talked about the flywheel process, gamification, and the countermeasure. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Let's have a great week and get better every day. Thank you.